If you're looking for quality designs, look no further than Bradley Shaw Designs. Bradley Shaw Designs can design anything from wraps, banners, posters, promotional items, and more. Bradley Shaw Designs is the exclusive digital graphics partner of the Renegade Monster Truck Tour and Route 2 Motorsports. If you're looking for more information, please check out www.bradleyshawdesigns.com.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
And welcome everybody to Crush This Monster Podcast. Cheech just got the message. I just quickly sent it before we went live. Oh man, it was a last second thing. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the episode. It's going to be an awesome one. It is Hall of Fame week. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, we're all not able to meet in person and, get to enjoy everything. But this is the next best thing. I believe, is it either Friday or Saturday, Cheech, that the video...
Friday and Saturday night on the Monster Blog.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday night on the Monster Blog's YouTube channel. Go check it out. I'm going to be watching it. Us here at Crush This, we are supporters of the Monster Truck Hall of Fame. I know that there's so many people that want me to come down next year. Andy Olam, Chris Warnick, Dan Clark. You guys are the three that want me to come down there. So
I'm the one that told them to come down there. So I need to tell you that story, that this guy told them to come, so they went to tell you to come. So, yeah.
And by the way, Drew, Mankind, yeah, we were a little bit late, but, we want to make sure that everything goes good with the podcast. And, hey, I'm excited for this one, but I know a guy that is sitting beside me virtually that is like a kid in a candy store for this episode. This is his thing. Okay, everybody. Cheech started the Kickin' It old school thing. This is his deal. I'm just kind of going along with it. Cheech is the old school guy here. I'm more like the 90s and the 2000s guy. That's what I grew up on. But Cheech is the 80s guy. Cheech, take this podcast. This is your episode, my friend.
Yeah. Just want to give a shout out to Mark Bendler, one of our guests. He's inducted to the Hall of Fame this year. So that's pretty cool to see his interview and everything like that. So congrats, Mark, and everyone else, too. Kevin Dapney, I'm right for and the rest of the people. But congratulations to all those that are in. But this one I thought was pretty cool because I got connected with a gentleman named Chris Moranis. And and I've been friends with him since the first time I went to the Hall of Fame. And he just, talked to me, and it was pretty cool. And then, saw him at shows and stuff like that. But he was really good friends with this gentleman that we have. And, his truck was one of the first trucks I bought was the Glue. It was like a Mondo. I think they're called the Mondo trucks. And it had a little battery in the back, and then you just let it go. And it was the first truck because I picked it because it was the only truck that had the funny car type headers coming out of the hood, and it was Thunder Chicken. And ever since then, it was one of my trucks that I liked the best. I was always a Bigfoot fan, but Thunder Chicken and Wild Hair. But this gentleman probably has no introduction needed, but it's pretty cool to have him on. And that's Mr. Kid Rarig. How you doing, sir?
Hi, guys.
Hello. Yep, we hear you loud and clear. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yes, you're
Can you hear
breaking
us?
up, but we'll see how it goes.
That's probably my internet. But let's start from the beginning and how did you get yourself into the world of monster trucks? Was it through the four-wheel drive jamboree, or was there another outcome for it? How did you get started?
Well, see, back in the 70s, early 80s, I had a four-wheel off-road shop, and everybody come to me to put their trucks up in the air. So I was putting 2, 3 lift kits on a day sometimes. And I built my own truck with 28 inches of lift on it, 44 tires. You could pretty much walk under it. It was called Godzilla. That was my first start. And then we heard that a truck called Bigfoot was going to be, that we saw in the magazine, was going to be at the Philadelphia show at the Spectrum. So me and Norm Welcome, which was one of my drivers after a while, and we took off and went there to see what it was like. They wouldn't let you they wouldn't let you in to see the truck. So we had to go by, we started to build a truck. We had to go by just what we thought should be under it. And I found a number in a book with Kevin Dabney's phone number. So I called him and he says, well, I have some rears I'll sell you. So I had a 79 Ford that I put these rears under, and it started from there. I mean, it took us 3 years to build this, the Pennsylvania Mountain Monster. The big deal was getting the transfer case in it too. But and then eventually Kirk Dabney and Kevin had tires and wheels, and I bought them off of him. So it took a while to get going. I mean, 3 years, and then after a while, we just did little shows, like what was it, 86 or so, and I got a call to go to Puerto Rico with a guy named Gravedigger and Carolina Crusher and them guys. And the reason I got that show done was truck out in Erie, Pennsylvania. What was that? The Stroh Strider. He backed out of the deal, and I took his spot. I ended up winning the show.
And that was
hear me?
actually yes. That was promoted by Dean Moore, wasn't it?
Yep, that was Dean. He always hired Carolina Crusher and Gravedigger, and we usually didn't break, and we put on a good show. So we were dependable, and all the other trucks that he was hiring was breaking all the time. So we got pretty much every weekend we had a job. And then while I was in Puerto Rico, I ended up making a deal with buying the Mudman truck, which turned into Madman. So that's how that came about too. Then I was running 2 trucks.
One question that I have is, I like hearing the backstories of the names of the trucks. How did you come up with the name of the PA Mountain Monster? Was that, because I was, since being in Pennsylvania, I know it's very kind of, it's got some mountainous areas, some hilly areas, but how did you come up with the name and the concept behind the truck?
Well, there you go again. Like I said, we're in Pennsylvania, we're in the mountains, and I had a contest. I put out to name the truck, and whoever got whoever truck name we chose got the ride in the truck over the cars when we were done with it. So that's how that came about. So it ended up being Mountain Monster. Then we changed it to Pennsylvania Mountain Monster. So that's how that worked. Just like the Thunder Chicken. There we go again. I was raised on a farm. And it was a big chicken following me around all the time. You could hear it coming. So that's how that got going.
See, one thing that I thought was pretty cool is when you were racing, you really like to go outside the United States. Like you just talked about going to Puerto Rico and mentioning about, going to Japan and stuff like that. How was that experience like for you?
Well, there's another thing. I had to get the truck all the way to Oakland, California to get to go to the show on the coast was the Aloha Bowl, where I got 3rd place there. And that was a whole nother thing, getting the truck all the way to the West Coast. So I got the honor of being the truck that traveled the farthest. And we came back after after the show in Aloha, we had to come back to Oakland, and that's where we signed a contract to go to Japan show. So most of the trucks that were in the Aloha Bowl ended up going to the Japan show, and that was a whole new experience.
So
But it
one
worked
question.
out. I did good the first night, and I think it was Monster Matt got second.
So one question that I have is, I myself am a fan of the square body S10 like truck body in the chassis. I've had two of them so far in my life, and I adore them. And that's what attracted to me when I found out about Thunder Chicken, and it was a square body S10. How did you was it just the body was already on the truck already, or did you how did the body come about for Thunder Chicken being a 80s square body S10?
Well, there's another story. On the way back from Minnesota, by then the Madman truck we linked and called it Madman 2. By then it was orange. On the way back in Chicago, the trailer busted and the whole rig and everything flipped and fell. So the whole body there was destroyed. Well, I was looking through a magazine called The Auto Locator, and I already had a Chevy motor, thinking I was going to someday put a Chevy motor in it because I used to drag race Chevys. I had a rear engine dragster and a front engine dragster, and I always had Chevys. I used to build motors. And for $1,000, I saw this S10. It was a flip up body, and it was a mud truck. So I went down to Reading, Pennsylvania, and I picked that up and put that body on it and made it into a funny car lift up body hydraulically. So that's where that came in. It could have been if I would have had a full size body, I would have put one on. But I thought, well, for $1,000, the whole thing's there. It's a shell. It was a heavy shell, but I made that work and turned it into a funny car flip up body.
Man, that's pretty cool. And then so you, like you said, you started with the S10 with the Thunder Chicken, but how did you get into the TNT series?
Well, I'm not really sure. Back then there wasn't a whole lot of trucks. I think maybe Dean Moore had something to do with. They would call around. I get a phone call to do a show, and it just turned into Gravedigger, Carolina Crusher. It was all those guys that were used to running together, and I just fit in with all the rest of them. So that's how I got to be doing everything. Next thing you know, we're on TV. Some of the TNT shows weren't that wasn't televised. It was one of those things where they pick, I think, the more popular stadiums is the ones that they televised.
So I'm just looking here at some of the notes that Cheech sent me too. So let's talk about 1987 at the Bloomsburg Fair. It was before the Jamboree started. What's the story about you crushing a limo?
Yes, I had my limousine. It was only a 68. It was getting out of date, and I thought, wouldn't this make a great show after the Demolition Derby? You line up about 20 cars, and I come out on stage. I come out in front of the stage of the grandstand after the Demolition Derby and run over the cars. So the producer of WHLM in Bloomsburg says, let's make a little bit of a show out of it. So he's up on stage saying, after I ran over the cars, saying, bring up another car. We'll run over some more cars. And I brought out a limousine, which was mine, but he made it sound like it was his limo. He says, please, no, don't run over my limo. And they lined it up. That was the end of it, and I ran over my limousine. It really didn't crush much, but it crushed the hood and a little bit of the roof. And the guy that drove it out for me, he stayed inside the car and laid on the floor while I did this. It was pretty cool.
Man, that's pretty crazy. And then the cool thing is, we're going about the Bloomsburg Jamboree is, I seen a lot of the videos, and it seemed like back then you were one of the most popular trucks there. I believe it was 89. You had Thunder Chicken, and you had one of the fastest passes I've seen. I think it was one where you had a car, you turned around and had another set of cars, and they had this big hill as your finish. What was your idea with the Thunder Chicken / Madman 2 truck to be so consistently on the ground. You had in the 90 season where you beat Bigfoot, the highly advanced monster truck, and then you took him out with your truck. But I always liked that truck for for how low it got. As soon as it got to the ground, it just took off. What was your idea of building Thunder Chicken as a pretty awesome race truck?
Well, here you go with the combination with the axles I had under it and the transmission. It was an Allison 4-speed out of a city bus. And see, those transmissions have an extra low front first gear in it. So when it takes off, it just takes off. Even though I was under horsepowered against Bigfoot, it was a supercharged 440, but it just didn't, the truck just didn't have the takeoff. So this transmission that was in it, it gave me an edge a little bit, taking off a little bit quicker than the other trucks that didn't have that. And were heavier. Everybody was running planetaries. And my idea was to use the planet knuckles, which were stronger, so you didn't break off an axle or a wheel. And I advanced that into putting in a 5-ton, drilled the axles and made it lighter. So I was losing about 2,000 pounds of weight by doing this. So it helped me take off quicker and win a lot of times.
So we have some fans asking questions, and one question here is from Alan Weaver, and he's asking, how did Dennis Anderson get to drive Madman? What's the story behind that? That's actually interesting.
Well, we were at the fair, and Gravedigger, he was running good, but it's when we came home from Puerto Rico, we got to be good buddies, and Tom Bites, that was running the Madman truck, he hurt his back, and Tom says, I don't think I can run another race. And at the same time, Dennis blew a valve in the Gravedigger, so he was only running on 7 cylinders, so he was done. He wasn't doing anything when running on 7 cylinders. So I said, Dennis, come on over here. Let me talk to you. And I said, how about you jump in this truck and let's show what it can do. And he ended up doing real good. In fact, he ended up blowing the back window out of the truck, out of the Madman truck, when he landed, hit his head on it.
Wow. That's crazy. So you drove that truck all weekend long then?
Yep, he did good with it. Well, it was really only for that day.
Oh. Gotcha. No.
By the next race, he had the motor fixed.
All right. That's still freaking cool. And one of my questions I always wanted to hear the story about was the gangrene monster dump truck. I think a lot of people say that's probably the first monster truck dump truck ever existence before Earthshaker or Dirt Crew. What was that idea about, and how did that come up with?
Well, see that truck there, I found that in Ohio, in a magazine, and the guy only wanted $8,000 for the truck and the trailer with the 6 tires. I had 4 tires in the back, so it was really wide. It was no race truck because it weighed 22,000 pounds. It still had the original diesel Detroit in it that had 99 million miles on it. I mean, it had 999,000 miles on it, and but it still ran. But I would run over cars with it and take it to shows. I would lead parades with it because it was so neat. It was the largest dump truck in the world. So, and it was neat to own, and I ended up selling that.
So, when you were racing in the TNT series, who did you like running against? Who did you like running against more than others?
Well, I liked to beat Gravedigger when I could, and that was hard to do. He was a hell of a driver, and in fact, all them guys that you saw on TV were all good friends. If something broke, we just help each other get it going. So we made a good show of it, so we could still keep running. And I don't know. Dean. Who was it? Who had the Bronco?
John Moore.
John Moore.
The Moores. Yeah. John Moore had that, and he was always fun to drive. He was always fun to race against. So he was one of the guys. And Mad Dog. Those guys there, they were always fun too. But Gravedigger was the most one I liked to run against and run with.
You know, I always liked that one event, Fishersville, Virginia, 1989. The finals was between you and Johnny K. And man, I always loved that track, and that was actually the first time I believe I saw you in your truck. I was there at Fishersville, and I love that show. And
there's one of the shows I regret. I made a bad decision on when it came down to me in the final with Johnny K. He had one of those funny car motors in the truck, and I knew it. And I thought the right lane was a better lane to race in, but it wasn't. The faster truck got to choose the lane, and I made a bad decision and chose the right lane. And I should have won that whole show, but I didn't. I gave him the lane that was the faster lane, the less bumpy lane, and he won. I think about this all the time. Why did I do that? But that's a true story.
Chris Gilbarger just asked a question that I was going to ask you anyways. It's about a gentleman we've had on the podcast a couple times. You know, back in the TNT days. Any good Mike Wine stories?
Oh,
that lunatic. Yes, Brad. There's a couple good stories, but I can't really talk about it. He's a good guy. Yeah, it came down to the second time I went to Puerto Rico. By this time, I had the motor in. I had the funny car motor and the Thunder Chicken by now, and it came down to me and the Jersey Outlaw, and I beat him. In fact, every time I put that motor up to the test, any race, I always won with it. But yeah, he's something. I haven't heard from him in a while, but what was it? The last time we saw him was at the Hall of Fame. Yeah, 2 years ago, and we talked about old times.
Well,
yes, there's good stories, but I can't say all of them.
Well, Mike text messaged me and he said, "I'm sorry I can't make it, but missed you." He's working right now.
Oh yeah. I guess he works a lot of hours, the way it sounds. So, yeah, I don't know what he does, but I know he works a lot.
That dude's a riot. Like, we did an episode with him that lasted, I think it was like 3 hours or 2 hours about that. We had to split it up into like 3 different episodes. Like, the dude, just the stories that he has about just those old times is iconic, and it just left us in tears at the end of it.
You know, one thing I think people may not notice about the Thunder Chicken was what got you the idea of putting the monster truck names on the eggs. And there's always like one truck name that got crushed.
Yeah, usually when it was a chicken truck. Let's put some eggs on here, and as I beat people at the show, I'll put their names on the eggs, and people started recognizing this. So the more shows that I beat somebody, I would put their name on an egg, and they didn't have no problem with it. So I just kept on doing it.
That's pretty cool. Did you and Dennis ever talk about having, your name on a tombstone and his name on an egg?
No, I mean, we thought about it, but we never did that. But that would be neat. In fact, I don't remember whose name was on the eggs. Didn't I have Bigfoot on there? Or
USA 1
I forget
Bigfoot.
whose name was on these eggs. But
I think it was like USA 1, Bigfoot, and I think Equalizer.
Yes, I don't remember. I think I remember Bigfoot being on. You're talking 30 some years ago.
Yeah.
As many times I
Yeah.
hit my head on the roll cage, I don't remember.
It's all
So,
good.
one question I
The last race that I ran was in.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead there. Oh,
Go ahead, Brad.
there's a little bit of a delay on the conversation, but I want to ask, how many different trucks have you had in your career? I'm looking at there's all I've known is the Mountain Monster and Thunder Chicken, and then Cheech mentioned Gangrene. But how many trucks have you had in your career?
Okay, well, the first truck wasn't a monster truck, but it was almost. It could have been. That was Godzilla. And then the first truck that I built, monster truck wise, was a PA Mountain Monster. Then there's the Madman 1, Madman 2, which was longer and orange. And then Walking Tall, which when I sold the Mountain Monster in Tokyo, I needed a truck to fill the show. So I bought a truck out of Virginia off I was getting a divorce called Walking Tall. And I just left it how it was. And then Gangrene, which I bought. And then, well, in between, I built Thunder Chicken. And I bought, after the Tokyo show, I had money to buy a funny car motor, which then when I put in that, then I actually had power.
Let's go back to the Tokyo show there, kid, and talk about the experience there in Japan, and also, how, awesome the experience was, at that facility.
Well, first of all, it was wild. I mean, it was a big place, and everybody was a little bit scared to go all the way to Japan, and because it took like a month to get the trucks from California to Tokyo, and it was a little scary. But the people were great, and I'd probably do it again if I was invited back and I had a truck. So, but we did the first show there. We did the first show in probably the Aloha Bowl Monster Trucks, and I think we did the first show in Tokyo Dome from anybody.
So the one thing I was kind of curious about is you already had a name. People knew you with the PA Mountain Monster, and then you come up with you're driving Madman and then Thunder Chicken. You had different, I guess, different identities going on, towards in your monster truck career. Did you ever had people know you more through Thunder Chicken or Madman or PA Mountain Monster, or it was just just the wave, just different avenues?
Well, here's how probably it worked. I got more known for Thunder Chicken because of the TNT shows. That's when everybody started getting fan mail. I mean, there'd be bags of it. When I got back, we come back once a month because just like NASCAR, you're away all the time. You never get to go home. You're fixing stuff on the road if it needs fixed. So I think I got known for Thunder Chicken, where really I think the Pennsylvania Mountain Monster was my actual favorite truck out of all of these trucks, and I think I got known for that. It's the truck that I like to drive the most. Thunder Chicken just was a little awkward and rode harder too. Those leaf spring trucks were brutal, and it killed. In fact, I broke my collarbone in Antioch Speedway in New Jersey, coming home from Puerto Rico after I beat Jersey Outlaw in Puerto Rico. The next show was in Antioch Speedway in New Jersey, and that's where come out in the final with me and Jersey Outlaw, and I busted myself up. That was my last race. It took me a year with my collarbone. It took me a year to recover.
Okay. All right. And then we got a couple questions here, and I think some people ask here from Scott Bryant. A little bit of a tech question here. He was wondering, can you explain how you got the 5-ton military hubs on the Clark Knuckles?
A lot of drilling, about 2 weeks of drilling. How you do this is everybody was breaking their hourglasses off of their axles when you land, and even though you welded them up inside, it would still break. So I came up with this idea because I had some planetaries that I got with the Madman when I bought that truck. Now, it looked like something was going to match up, but yeah, I had to drill every hole. I went out and bought a new drill press, and it took a while. It took 2 weeks to get all the holes drilled, and then we bolted everything together, and even the short axle on the outside, it fit on. So after I did that, nothing ever, and I had half the weight of the axles if they would have been full-time planetaries off a 25-ton payloader.
Okay, gotcha. Brad is back here. I just asked him a question from Scott Bryan about how he got the 5-ton military hubs on the Clark knuckles. So that's where we're at. But another question from David DeAnglis. He was like, "Awesome to see you here, kid. What's your favorite place to race over the years?"
I don't know, David. I think Madison Square Garden was great. North Carolina, any place in North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia was good. But Fisherville, when you go to an outside venue like this, you got a way to open it up. And my truck was geared pretty high, and once I got the thing rolling, I could just keep going. So I'd say I guess Fisherville.
Got a question from Mr. Nick Davis from Back Channel Productions. He's asking, how much went into stretching Madman?
That was you cut the frame, and you put the frame section in from another frame off another Dodge. See, that was a 85 Dodge 3/4-ton truck. And we took and added 2 feet to it, and then we had to add to the box of the truck on Thunder Chicken 2, and then the drive shaft, and pretty much everything, leaf springs, drive shaft, everything had to be moved. But our theory was the truck, the better it handled, and it seemed to work. It did seem to work like that because, like the No Problem Bronco, he ended up doing the same thing. He lengthened it. After I lengthened the Thunder Chicken, he lengthened his truck. So that's why we did that. It was a job, but we got her done.
Yeah, it seemed like towards that lengthen the trucks seemed like that was the best way. I mean, Gravedigger 2, Carolina Crusher, obviously Clydesdale. Those trucks were pretty lengthy. It seemed like that was the best handling. When you were with Thunder Chicken, did you like racing in the indoors, or were you always getting ready for the outdoor season?
I like more outside, just like Bloomsburg. That was another great truck. And when they turned that into a course, I was real good on the turn courses. I had it down to, we were one of the first guys to put a rear steering return self-steering on. So when you hit the switch, it turns the rear tires, leave off the switch, and it would center itself back up by itself. You didn't have to worry about oversteering. So the Bloomsburg show or any place that there was a turning course, I was always geared up for that because I thought I have a better chance. Even though I'm under horsepowered, I had a better chance of doing better if it was an outside course with turning course. They had that at Bloomsburg in Ohio, wherever, even in the Aloha Bowl. That was a turn course. And what's that stadium up in Connecticut? The stadium up there. That was a turning course too. What football teams does there?
Well,
I don't remember, but that was an open stadium. Yeah, Foxborough Stadium. Yeah, that's where Gary rolled the Mopar Magic truck.
Okay.
In fact, they were going to charge him to fix he was going to charge him the grass that he tore up.
Oh my. Man.
So, question that I have, because I'm also a diehard drag racing fan, and you mentioned earlier that you've had a rear engine and a front engine dragster. So, how did you get into the dragsters, and what did you prefer? Did you prefer, the front engine, or did you like it when they went all to when the Don Garlos developed the rear engine? What did you prefer?
Well, it doesn't matter. I like both. Just that there again, the longer the race car, the better it handled at the end of the track. And if it was a windy day, you blow right across into the other lane, which was scary. But I started out with drag racing Drex record holder drag bikes that you lay down on with a big wide tire, going 9 seconds, 150 mile an hour. And then I ended up finding this 37 Ford, which was a record holder in a barn. I drug it out of a barn. I built a motor for it, and that was my wheel standing car. Then I ended up with a funny car. Then I got a front engine dragster, and then I built a rear engine dragster. Then my racing's in my blood, so racing the monster trucks was nothing. That was just a little heavier vehicle.
Nice, nice. The one thing I like to go back is what got. Can you tell the story on how you were one of the first ones to come up with the self-centering? What got you to go? Okay, or was there someone that introduced you to it? Because I think that the self-centering really helped change the sport in general in monster trucks. And so, how did you get involved with that?
Well, see, that was Tom Bites' idea. He was driving at the time. He was driving the Madman truck, and he was thinking about this for a long time. And I don't know if he saw it somewhere else or what, but he come up with these two balls in the sockets, and when it made contact, it would send it back to the centering part of it. So I don't know. I remember it was too far long ago, but I remember. But Tom Bites was the one that come up with this idea, and we used it on. We didn't use it on any other trucks except the Thunder Chin, and it worked. In fact, I think some of the parts that are on the truck that Chris has is still on the back that we had hooked to, and it did work.
So when you look back at the TNT era, because living in Canada, we didn't really get any of the TNT coverage. Like, I'm not too sure. Like, it's in the early '90s. Like, we had TNN, which had the trucks and tractor power. But like, what was it like having the coverage of like your truck, and how did people recognize like your truck in the area from TV or like in other areas?
Well, we were on TNT on TV about, I guess, every night at 5:30 around here, and sometimes it was in the Press Enterprise paper when I was going to be on TV, because I could call the TNT people and find out what the dates was and where the shows was. So if they told me where the shows was, I knew I was going to be on TV. So everybody in the area would tune in and watch me drive, which was pretty cool, because there'd be sometimes something in the paper about it.
And it's that for me, that's how I got connected, was because of TNT. Seeing the Thunder Chicken, seeing Gravedigger and all them, and that's how my dad found out you guys were at Fishersville, because I was from Virginia, so we went ahead and tried to see you guys and stuff like that. Now, has there ever been a situation where you're driving Thunder Chicken and the body kind of flopped up on you?
Well, yes, a lot of times. We'd be in a hurry checking the bolts and maybe tightening the blower bell or something. And I think it might even happen in Fisherville too. The body was heavy and we just put it down, but I had two bolts going through the front of it that you would put through and tighten up. Sometimes you forget to do it, and you're driving and find over cars, the body's flopping up. You'd think it was going to be flying off of it, but it would just slam down and bend stuff. So, but it was still all right. We just had to make ourselves a mental note to remember to put these bolts through to hold the body down.
So one question that I have here is, when when the monster truck industry changed, when Bigfoot 8 obviously came out, what was your thoughts on, when you started hearing rumblings of that truck coming out and when it finally debuted? What were your thoughts on that truck and kind of the industry at that point where it was heading?
Well, here's how this come about. At Bloomsburg one year, there was snakebite, Bigfoot, and another truck. They all ended up on the roof rolling. Now, after that happened, Bigfoot says we're taking the year off and coming up with something to fix this problem, and come up with this system where it would land with the different kind of shocks, so it would land real soft. In the cantilever system, which that's the first truck was Bigfoot with the cantilever system. The second one was Gary Porter's in the Carolina Crusher. He did the same thing. But after I broke my collarbone, I wasn't really interested in the truck. I think I was just through with it. It was affecting my health. But that's about when I quit after that. I mean, I ran and I went to Columbus, Ohio Coliseum and did a show there after that. But that was about it.
So let's talk about, a lot of people on the chat were talking about it. Yeah, that technological advanced truck got beat by you and Thunder Chicken. So that was that experience like, and how awesome is that feeling?
Just this low battery.
Oh.
Go ahead. Ask me that again. You're breaking up. I think
Oh,
I'm
my
battery
bad.
down to nothing. That's what's
So,
going on here.
okay, at West Leb 1990, you beat Bigfoot 8 in your Thunder Chicken truck. And how did you feel about that day? And what were you thinking when you knocked out basically the top truck in the nation?
All right. Well, here's what happened there. It was a rainy day, and Bigfoot was overpowering everybody. I mean, he had a funny car motor in it, and it was running good. I just happened to have better traction, is how this come about, than he did. He was getting, if you watch the video, he was getting sideways, where I was just going the way I usually drive, just keep on going straight. And that's what actually happened there. He was overpowering, and he would spin all over the place. And it was to my advantage that the track was muddy. I took advantage of that too, and I beat him.
That must have been like one of the best moments. Like, here comes, the mighty Bigfoot with, a tube frame truck, cantilever suspension.
I'm trying to get the battery to come back here.
Something that, looks, out of this world. And here you come and kick its butt. Like, nobody would have expected, that, especially with a truck that technologically advanced at that time period.
Well, Brad, that didn't happen too much. That didn't happen a whole lot. That was just when it happened. It was a lot of it was luck. Some of it was me driving a little bit better than the other guy. But most of the time, the Bigfoot truck and the Equalizer, they were usually the winners.
So, were you ever after seeing Equalizer and Bigfoot, were you brainstorming on building a newer Thunder Chicken, or were you gonna use the same platform of the Thunder Chicken and put newer add-ons to it?
No, we were thinking about going with the new springs, just like the Equalizer truck. They had the right idea, and in a cheaper way. I mean, it didn't do the same thing as work like Bigfoot, land like it, but it didn't bounce around like all the other leaf spring trucks did. Most of the leaf spring trucks handled terrible, but and that's where longer the truck, maybe we can make it work better that way. So yes, I wish I would have stayed into it really and went with the long springs, but I didn't do that.
Actually, another question here from Nick Davis, kind of a similar thing, but what did you guys think of Taurus 3 with the new tube chassis and coil springs when that truck came out? Because, everybody, like you were saying, with the Equalizer was trying something different. Big was trying something different. The Wilmans were doing something different. What did you think of the Taurus truck when it came out? Because, everybody else was trying the nitrogen shocks, but here comes Taurus with the coil springs. What did you think of that truck when it debuted?
I wasn't sure if that was going to work or not, but once I saw it, it was still better than a leaf spring truck. So it was more power to him. I thought he was on the right track, and at the speed that you're getting out of these big motors, you have to do something. So that's why they pretty much outlawed the leaf spring trucks, because the motors, there was overpowering the suspension, which wasn't good because people were getting hurt, and I did.
Drew Upler, he is a crew guy for Bigfoot. He wanted to say thank you to you. He said, kid, I can't thank you enough. In 1991 or 92, Amy babysat me and would watch me at the shop most of the time. I already loved monster trucks, and you let me climb all over Thunder Chicken when it sat next to the shop still on big tires. Those experiences really made me realize that a small town, middle of nowhere Pennsylvania kid could get somewhere with monster trucks. Now, over 30 years later, I have made a monster truck my career for the last 8 years and been with Bigfoot over 2 years. So that's Drew Upler. If you remember him, he wanted to say thank you.
Oh yes, I saw him. I saw him in Bloomsburg, and he has a tattoo of the little thunder peep on his back of his leg. And I saw that. I said, "Am I seeing things?" And I went over, and it was Drew, and he was grown up by then, and he had a tattoo of my thunder chicken on his leg. I about went into tears.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes,
speaking about
thank you, Drew, for everything.
And let's fast forward a little bit when Mike Harper contacted you about making a modern Thunder Chicken monster truck. How was that? And when he showed you the pictures of the modern race truck Thunder Chicken, how did you feel about that?
Well, when he called me and said he was going to ask me if he could build a Thunder Chicken, and I get a lot of calls like that, so I said, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead, and I guess I was pretty well happy that somebody did it, but 50 calls a year on somebody, can I build a truck like yours? Can I build a Thunder? Go ahead, but it never came about. When Mike did it, then I thought this was great. And he comes when he's at the NASCAR shows, a raceway. He comes to see me all the time. So, and 2 years ago, he got me tickets to get in with the big boys, right up in the garage and everything with him. So that's neat. He's a good guy.
So you mentioned that health reasons was the reason why you got out of the sport. But if you were able to stay in the sport, at driving competitively, what would you have gone with the Penda series? After TNT folded, would you have gone with the Penda series? What would you think you would have done? Going forward with how the industry was changing at the time.
Well, I probably would have built, if I wouldn't have got hurt in New Jersey, I probably would have built a truck. Well, like Tom, my partner that was driving the Madman truck, he built a truck called Offspring, and he had coil springs on it. And I drove that. I drove that over the cars, did wheel stands over the cars, and it landed 100 times better than my Thunder Chicken did. But see, Tom narrowed the truck up, which does help to narrow the truck, and the coil spring just made it so when you landed, it didn't have that much leverage to throw you around in the truck. My truck was over 13 foot wide. and most of the trucks are like Bigfoot. I think his was 10, and I'm sure that landed a lot better than something when you're in the air and you have time to get air and you get sideways with it. When you land, it just whips you around so bad inside, and that's how I broke my collarbone.
So you, after TNT got sold by United States Hot Rod, or Pace by that back then, SRO, you did do the 91 season through the United States Hot Rod Association. But I always call it the United States Hot Rod days because you ran with gray rims instead of the famous white ones that everyone always recognized the Thunder Chicken with the Madman rims. But I always thought that was pretty cool to see how still that truck was still competitive, even the 91 season that you had with the Thunder Chicken. It was pretty cool. I mean, how if you remember correctly, back when did TNT let you guys know that there was another ownership in the 90 season?
Well, it was sort of a surprise. We really didn't think anything would change when Hot Rod took it over. Everything just came much to a halt. I didn't. They wanted me to repaint my truck and make it purple and put a wood on it. And they sent every artist design of how they wanted the trucks to look. And I guess I didn't want to do that, so I wasn't getting hired by them. I mean, I did the Tokyo show, and after that, didn't run too much. It didn't race too much.
So what do you think of the sport now? I like to ask, our guests that have been, in the sport for a long time. What do you think of it now? And have you seen any, like, what's, like the 2-wheel thing? Like, what do you think of the sport, how it's evolved?
Well, I'd be doing the same. I'd probably be doing tricks like they do now with the front wheel stand, hold them, and do like the bicycle trick. If I was driving, I'd probably be doing all that right now. But I'm too old to be doing that.
Oh yeah, it's just and also, I mean, give a shout out to like Chris and all the fans that still talk about the the TNN day. I mean the TNN days or TNT days. How is it having a good friend like Chris being around there, kid?
It's great. I might probably just lose it, but all the people that wanted to buy my truck, I gave him the first shot at it because I know it's going to get somewhere. It's going to do something, and I'd probably end up being able to drive that again when it's done. So he's one of my best friends now. He started coming to my place, I think, when he was 10 years old, and we're still hanging out together.
It was pretty cool to meet you at the Jamboree this year in Bloomsburg. Hear stories from you and meet you personally. I met you beforehand at the Hall of Fame, and let's talk about that too because when I was there, they did the anniversary of the '88 championship, and how awesome is it going back to the Hall of Fame and seeing all the people that you raced against, and still talk about stories and all different avenues from past and present and current. How awesome is that?
It's pretty great. When you go there, you're gonna see the old guys that was in the TNT shows, like the Equalizer guys and Taurus guys and who's in Minnesota with USA One, Everett Jasper, all the guys from 30 years ago that you never get to see. So it's pretty neat to go there.
I'm hoping to go there next year, and I think the Hall of Fame is a very important thing to be able to preserve the history of the sport, and recognize those like yourself who have paved the way for a lot of these younger people to come into the sport, and like what's the one thing that you would want to say to the current drivers, the modern day drivers that are doing it? What's one piece of advice that you'd like to give to somebody driving currently?
Well, I don't get to watch the shows anymore because I don't have cable or dish or anything where we live. But I'm sure all the new drivers coming out, they're going to go through things that it's a lot of trouble. They can just if they can keep up the good work, keep this sport going. Because like when I first built this truck, my dad said it took me 3 years, and my dad said this is going to be a fad for about a year. And it's going to go away. But luckily, I proved him wrong. And next thing you know, he's watching me on TV. So if they can keep this sport going, it'd be great. That's where the Hall of Fame comes in. It keeps people interested and to ship it on it.
Now, Drew was asking here about the rims. He said, why the change from the McCoy rims to regular gray rims that you ran in 91?
All right. Well, here's why we did this. We found out we could get a wheel that was a lot lighter. Those McCord wheels had they must have been 1.5 inch steel thick, maybe 2 inches. They were so thick, and I thought they were so heavy, even though they look good. They were really thick, and I thought these wheels are heavy. And I had a chance to buy wheels that were thin, didn't have a ring. Like when you those monster truck rims had a big ring with a rubber O-ring around it, and now and then if you get a flat, you have trouble getting them blowed up. Well, the gray rims that I put on was a one-piece wheel like a car wheel. You just put the tires on, you put air to it, and they were narrower, and I bet you they were 300 pound lighter. So that's why we went to that. But I missed those old slotted rims.
So I was able to go on a website here and bring up some photos here. Hopefully you're able to see them there. I don't know if you're on a phone or computer. And just what the first thing comes to your mind. So I'll bring up the first picture here. It's you and Johnny K and Buffalo Tremor there. What comes to your mind when you see a picture like that?
I look over and I can't even hear my truck running because he has a funny car motor like I ended up putting in. And I couldn't even hear my truck running when his was alongside of me. But if you see there, I think it's the 440 Dodge motor still in it, and it had the pipes of fenders. Like, was a real good look. But if you notice how close they are to the tires, when you landed, they would get busted off. So I had to do something different, and I ended up putting them up.
See, one thing I love about looking at a picture of your truck was the velocity stacks, like from the carburetors. I loved how that looks. It's such a different look for a truck because everybody had like the bug catcher style or whatever, and here you are, two giants, like stacks on your carburetor. I love it.
Any more pictures there?
Yeah, that's why I did it, because I just like my motor and my dragster. The bigger the stacks and the bigger the carburetors, it looked neater. You can't see where you're going, but that's fine.
I got another picture here. That one moment that we've talked about a couple times. Good old Thunder Chicken beating the technology wonder of Bigfoot 8.
Yep, that's that show I was telling you about. If you look close, you can see the tires are muddy, and he couldn't stay on the cars. And now the rules are, when you get off the first set of cars, you have to hit both tires on the next set of cars you're going to hit, or you're disqualified. So he'd have to keep leaving off the gas and slow down to get lined up, where I just was constant go, go, go. I was under horsepower, but it worked for me on a muddy day. It didn't for him at all.
Also, do you have any more there pictures there, Brad?
I'm getting more as we speak, so just give me a moment here, guys. I'm trying to get some more pictures. I just got some sent to me by somebody.
Another thing I always thought, one thing was a story about the bright blue driving suit that you had, I think, and your famous hat. I just thought it was awesome.
Well, yeah, my blue fire suit, which Chris has now, and that was in the Hall of Fame for a little bit. And I always got famous once I took my helmet off after I won a race, and I put my hat on. That's just, I felt better in that hat. Plus, it helped cover up my bald head.
And speaking of that, right there. I'm right on it. See,
Yeah,
I'd love
go.
to see.
I always wore black. I couldn't find a black fire suit.
I'd love to see a hat like that replicated for fans to buy, because I'd wear a hat like that in a heartbeat. Just trying to get a couple more pictures here.
I have a blue one every day now. I have that hat in my truck.
We had one person that asked, was wondering, what are you doing today? Basically asking what projects, or are you, do you still have your automotive shop? Just curious on what you're doing today.
Well, I still have the tire company, which I put tires on people's cars if they need it. I don't do it full time anymore because I'm 68 and retired. But I still put tires on now and then for people. So I'm still a tire salesman, and I have a small car lot that me and Tom Bites, that used to drive the Madman truck, are partners in. So in the daytime, we do that. We'll go up and work on cars, or sell a vehicle, take pictures of it, put it on Facebook, and somebody will come in and buy a car, buy a Jeep Liberty or a pickup or something.
All right, got some more pictures here, so I'll put one up here. I'm just uploading more, so there's an old school picture for you.
Yeah, right there. That was after I ran over the cars and got out, and I know my back was hurting. That's before I wore a helmet too. I was wearing my black hat, and there's the recap tires that I got off of Kirk and Kevin Dabney. I traded I had a jet boat. I was racing a jet boat back then, and I was out of cash, and he said, I have 4 tires for you. You got to come down to Florida and get them. So they towed my jet boat down and come back with 4 tires on the trailer. So there's those recaps.
Here's another good one here.
So that was Godzilla right there on 48.
Okay, now that's it. My shop. Yep, that's on Route 487, Route 42, going to Knoebel Amusement Park. And there's the Madman truck and Godzilla on one end, and the Mountain Monster on the other end. So I don't know what year that. In fact, and there's the fender. You're seeing the fender with the Cobra on 428. That's the fender that Chris has.
And speaking of
that fender to somebody back when I came home from Puerto Rico, and Chris has that now.
And speaking of Chris, he's the one that sent me these pictures. So thank you, Chris. Here's an old one here. You at the drag strip, racing your car called Kid's Toy. That's cool.
Yep, that was I put a 350 motor in the 37 Ford. That car was the prototype for all 37 Ford fenders, doors, hoods, because it was a real straight car. And that was a national record holder from the pre-owner back in 1970, before I was orange when I bought it, and I painted it black and put Kid's Toy on it. That was the wheel standing car.
Is that a straight axle under there? Under the front?
Yes. Yep. It was a sprint car straight axle. In fact, I busted I did a wheel stand with that car. I took the wheelie bars off one day. I don't know what I was thinking, but I stood it straight up in the air, and when it came down, it smashed the front end right out under the car. So I knew to put the wheelie bars back on it.
Got another picture here. The PA Mountain Monster in action, and my God, look at the zoomies.
Yep. Now that picture right there is right before they brought the limousine out and put on the end of those cars there. I ran over the cars there, then I did a back wheel stand over them, and that's when they brought the limo out. And the announcer says, "Please don't run over my limo. Don't run over my limo." And it made a good show. The crowd was standing up and screaming. It was fun. But those are the zoomies I made, and then I had them chromed.
Those things I bet sounded amazing. And here's another good picture. It shows the fender a little bit better there with the Cobra on there. You and your black hat there. That's an awesome picture.
Yeah. That picture there was, I think, a Ford dealership in Wilkes-Barre. I was signing autographs after I ran over the cars. And yeah, that's before I put the pipes on the outside. I think I just had headers on then. Yeah, it was. I used to, on the weekends, I do a show for a Ford dealership and run over cars and then sign autographs and sell my T-shirts and pictures.
And here's a more current picture that I got sent. You at Bloomsburg.
Okay, that would be at the Bloomsburg Fair, and I'm signing some pictures for people. Chris is usually there when I'm doing that too. Me and Patty, my wife, usually set with Chris and his family. I always take a stack of pictures and I give them away to the people, give them away to the kids, and a lot of them don't know who I am, but they see the other monster trucks, and then want an autographed picture, so I give it to them.
See, and that's something that's really cool, like, so when you go to the Bloomsburg Fair, how many people recognize you and remember, the Mountain Monster and Thunder Chicken? Is how many people come up to you be like, man, I remember you?
Well, there you go. Most people don't. It's it's the kids' parents that they have to tell them who I am. And they say, well, I used to I have a picture at home of me sitting in one of your wheels that my parents took a picture of it back in the 80s. So most of the kids don't even know who I am because I don't have a truck sitting around anymore. So, but it's still neat to listen to their parents talk about me and tell their kids all about me. So that's a cool thing. One day a year when I go to the fair for that show, it brings back a lot of memories.
Oh man, I'm getting more pictures sent to me and more. You want to keep going with some of the pictures, Cheech?
Yeah, go ahead. I like the story behind them.
So here is one of Madman 2. Look at how low and mean that thing looks.
That later on became Thunder Chicken, correct?
Yep, I don't know. Exactly. Yep. That was right before it went right before the winter that it went to Minnesota and fell off the trailer. The front of the trailer busted, and it went rolling down the road. So that was the end of that body. There wasn't a straight piece off of it. The only thing I got out of that was the back window, I think. But that's a good shot of that. It must be. I don't know where that is even. It's at the Jamboree, I guess.
Well, it looks like it's a racetrack. It says Winston Racing Series up there. So I don't know if they raced over. Here's another picture of the original Madman, Madman 1.
Now, there you go. That's what the day. I think that's the day Gravedigger drove that truck. Right there. That's who was at the fairgrounds. I see it looks like a horse stables at the fairgrounds where they have the Jamboree.
So who was the original owner of that truck, Madman?
I can't think of his name. I I forget. Ask Chris. Chris would know. I forget.
No. Yeah, I was just wondering because that there's just because you had that one. I always remember that one, PA Mound Monster and Walking Tall. And Walking Tall, I think later on became
Yep.
West Virginia Mountaineer, wasn't it? Jim.
Yep, that's right. You got it. Yeah, we sold it to I forget the guy's name, but he renamed the truck.
Here's another good picture. I have one picture I'm saving kind of for last because I think it's such an epic shot. But here's the next picture here. Unloading the old Thunder Chicken next to the Gravedigger hauler there.
That looks like in Charleston, West Virginia. Am I correct?
I think so. Yeah, I think we only took one truck there. I used to haul 2 trucks at a time. We lengthened the trailer I got off. I think it was a Gary Porter. It was 36-footer, and it had a Tommy lift on the side that you could push a button, and the hydraulics would take the tires up and put on the front of the trailer. And I would be able to haul 2 trucks on that trailer there. We lengthened it to 48 foot.
Here is another picture. Chris is just sending me pictures on pictures here. TNT days, you versus Dennis.
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, I remember that because I think that's where Dennis had me meet his parents. His parents came to see him there, and I think he might have ended up winning that show, but hit the wall. I think so. I don't know. We did so many shows there, but it was a good track. And see, there again, I like these outdoor tracks. I can get up some wheel speed.
Next picture. Chris told me this was from about your first big win. And I believe he said Puerto Rico, I believe. Let me look here. Yeah, final race in Puerto Rico, your first big win.
Yeah, and there's the fender that got there. Yep, yeah. Right there, the shot that you see right there, in the other lane, I was up against the Carolina Crusher. When it came down to the end, he busted off his left front axle, and I broke off my right one. And how they judged the winner of the race, because both our trucks were done, they measured that I skidded farther past the finish line before he did. So that's how it worked out there.
This picture is from Foxborough, and it has what was it? Go-Go Gorilla in the bottom corner there.
Oh yes, I see that. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, Door Stadium. I couldn't think of the name. Remember, and that was a great show. I liked it. I got to the show. I thought, well, we're so far north. Why would they have an outdoor stadium? But it turned out being it was good, and that's where Gary rolled his truck.
And then my favorite picture of them all, I think I love this picture when he sent it. You versus Market Machines in Louisville, figure 8, and you're just skying the truck out. I love that picture.
Yeah, that was the figure. I think that was the figure 8 track, and you could really get up some speed, and you got time to get her rolling. And it looks like he was ahead of me. I don't know if I ended up catching him or not, because it was a long track, and you did a figure 8 on it, and then you had to get stopped at. And our trucks would really be bouncing off the ground, and we had trouble getting the thing stopped before you hit the wall. But it was a good track. I liked it. I could do that again.
So that concludes all the pictures here. Cheech, any other questions that you can think of there?
Yeah, I was wondering about one thing I was wondering was the drive shaft angles on Thunder Chicken. It seemed very, very leveled. A lot of trucks had violent angles of drive shafts, but it seemed like Thunder Chicken had a nice level. Was that from the transmission or the drop box that you had on that truck?
That was the Pro Fab 3-to-1 gearbox. In fact, it's still on the truck. And I remember I paid, I forget, $2,000 or something for it back then. It was aluminum, and you could change the gears in it. After I did that, the drive shaft angles were pretty much straight, which isn't a bad thing. You brake less that way, and you have actually more room for the travel, the suspension. We don't have to worry about the drive shaft going in. So it worked out for a lot of good reasons once I put that transfer case in and got rid of that big lunk that was in it.
I know I said no more pictures, but Chris just sent me this one, and I think it's too cool. That's such a cool picture.
Yep, there's. Yeah, that was this year. The Bloomsburg Fair people came and got me when I got to the parking lot and took me and my wife by golf cart and took us right over to Dennis's trailer, and that's where we met Chris. Everything, give each other a big hug.
That's such a cool picture. Two legends just shooting the breeze like that. That's cool. Like how long was it since you'd seen Dennis until this point?
Boy, I don't know. Maybe 12 years. I forget what it was. I think it was in Tampa, Florida. I went down for my birthday to see him run in a stadium in Tampa, Florida for my birthday one February. And he got me that I couldn't. You can't get to see these guys because there's no way the guards have you locked out. But when they came out to do some autographs, and he grabbed me and pulled me over the fence, and we got to talk a little bit. Not much because he's busy. Him and Carolina Crusher were busy signing autographs.
Okay, he sent me one more. He was trying to find this one. It's you in Tokyo.
Yeah, that I don't know what night we ran. I guess Saturday, and we ran Sunday. I think that was I don't remember, but I remember I had Godzilla and I had the Dallas cheerleaders in the back of my truck, and that was a heck of a show. I built a motor just to go to Hawaii, and before I went to Hawaii and Tokyo, I took the motor out and I put 12.5-to-1 pistons into it, and a bigger carburetor and a real violent camshaft, high stall speed converter, and it was like night and day. Because up till then, I was running a stock 428 motor from 1968.
Wow. Now, out of my last question before we sign off, what was your most memorable race? The one that always stuck out on your mind?
Well, I'd say that was the Aloha Bowl, and I think my best one was Allentown with the black truck with the Pennsylvania Mountain Monster. When I won that show, it came down to me and Star Monster. He had a supercharged Chevy, and I still had my pretty much stock 428 motor, and I ended up winning the show.
And Cheech, that's not just the last question. We still got to ask our normal questions with the podcast. We still got to always ask them. So yeah. with our podcast, we have two questions that are kind of out there. The first one comes from our good friend Brandon Culpepper Sr. And his question to all of our guests, and it's like I said, it's been a staple since day one, is what is your favorite kind of pie? Your favorite flavor of pie?
Brad, I didn't get that. I couldn't hear you.
What is your favorite flavor of pie? Like a dessert pie. What is your favorite flavor?
My favorite pie is sour cherry pie. I have another one, pecan pie.
Pecan. I can eat that thing like it's going out of style. Oh, that's my favorite pie.
Hey, you got both of our actually favorite pies. Mine, I love a good tart cherry pie. There's nothing better.
Well, they're my two favorites.
Yes. He's a winner in my book.
And the other question?
Oh, yeah, this is sponsored by Brad Has to Drink This the Tuesday before Christmas. So this will be an hour-long program with all the biggest stars of the Crush This podcast will be on deck to cheer Brad on while he's drinking this favorite drink of his. He knows the rules. So he knows what to go after. But the question is, kid, do you or do not like eggnog?
Boy, I'm not a fan of eggnog. Not really. I don't know, Dan. I don't know, Brad, about you guys. I'm putting some whiskey or something in it.
We hate eggnog, but Brad has to drink it Tuesday before Christmas.
Because I lost a bet, and now I have to drink it. And Chris just sent me one more photo. Chris has been on the ball, and thank you, Chris, for all the awesome pictures that you shared with us. He has one kind of last final picture, which I think is really cool. Right here, it is, as soon as it loads, all of the trucks you've had. That is so cool. I didn't even know that you had sudden impact.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, the top left is the Godzilla that I beat. It don't look as big as it is. You could almost walk under that truck. And then the back wheel stand in front of my tire shop. And then that picture that we saw before over it, I forget where it was. I think it was over in Bloomsburg. Ron Dennis was going to drive it. And there's the funny car. There's the funny car, the body on the funny car that I built.
That is such a cool picture. What's the story about sudden impact? I never knew that. I always thought that John Seesaw, had the name. I didn't know that you built that truck originally.
Yeah, that's a truck that Tom built after he was driving the Madman truck. He wanted a truck of his own, so he built that in his little garage over across the river, over by where our Claude is, at his house. And then, we didn't do too much running with it, and John bought it. So that was the end of that. And then years later, he built this Offspring truck with the coil spring shocks. So he built two trucks.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Man, it's awesome having you on. We'll probably next time maybe have Mike Wine on with you.
All right. Okay, Brad. Okay, Cheech. Good talking to you.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you very much. It was awesome for you to be on, and thank you for taking your time, and hopefully you enjoyed this.
Yes, and thank you, sir, for coming on. It was
thanks.
awesome.
We'll
it was awesome to have. Definitely. Take care, sir. All right.
Okay, I'm going to give Chris a call.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Let's take him off the screen there. So, guys, again, huge thank you to Kid Rarig for coming on. Also, a huge shout out to Chris Mormanis for getting the interview for us as well. He worked with Cheech to be able to get Kid on for us and get them all connected. So thank you to him for it as well, and for the awesome pictures that he was able to share with us, to share with Kid and get the stories about. Man, Hall of Fame week is starting off with a bang. We got one more episode this week of Hall of Fame, and I'm just stoked on how the episodes have been lately, Cheech.
Yes, indeed. And once again, Brad, it was a good time, good storytelling. We'll get more in. Todd Frolics up in the air. May replace him. It's gonna be on the fly, but Brad, we gotta thank our the people that helped us out. High Octane Coffee.
Okay, hold up. Let me. So High Octane Coffee.
Then we go with J Concepts. big nipple. Anyway, Back Channel Productions. Right now, Nick is blowing up my phone because he is saying sorry. Because it's going on right there. Once again, Brad, go ahead and Nick sent me an email. So
okay. So we'd also like to thank 6B Apparel for all the awesome crew shirts. I'm finally wearing mine. $100 a pop. Message either me or Cheech. You can get the new wave shirt, the retro wave as I call it, or the old school shirt. The original OG Crush This shirt with the old logo. We'd also like to thank Marty Garza for his book Monster Truck Technology. Marty Garza is also heavily involved. He is, I believe, the director of the MTRA. I believe they're doing something with the Hall of Fame, like an online virtual school or a meeting. Us here at Crush This support the MTRA and what they mean to safety. We'd also like to thank JB Scale Graphics. So I'm going to let Cheech take this one. Cheech, who does JB Scale Graphics do RC graphics for and like the teams?
They do Bigfoot, Obsessed, Bad Habit, Against the Grain, Heavy Hitter, many others, more to come. Go ahead and check them out for your decals, for your Monster Truck decals. Brad, you have to kill 1 minute because Nick gave us a video, and it was supposed to be before the show, but someone dropped the ball, and that person got fired for like 1 second. I felt bad. I hired him.
I'm going to tell you a quick story. Okay, it's about my trip. So I'm hanging with Zane and the crew, right? And being Canadian, I say certain things like a. I say like a and stuff, and so we're waiting for the video. I say a and other things, and you know how Cheech said decal. Well, I say decal, and everyone's like, "Wait, what did you say? Seriously?" Yeah, I say decal instead of decal. I don't know why. It might just be because I'm Canadian, and the fact that I don't say a lot. Oh, Cheech is back. Okay, he's back. So I was just explaining to you, how you said decal, right?
Yeah.
I say decal.
What?
See, that was everybody's reaction when I said that. So I call it a decal. That's just what I'm used to calling it, or the Z to Z. Like we had a store called Zellers, not Zealers, but Zellers. It's certain things. I'm just trying to kill time while this file downloads or whatever Cheech is doing. Right,
so, let me go to here. Continue on. I got one more.
So, guys, again, I also want to mention, mental health is important. I know for myself, things really haven't been that great lately. Being in kind of quarantine the way that I've had to be since my trip. But check up on your friends and family. Mental health is an important thing. One person can't do it alone. Check up on your friends and family, the people that care about you. Please, more than anything, especially in the time right now, especially with the pandemic, please check up on people. I sometimes, am bad for, talking to people about my stuff, but I'm learning how to do that. Cheech knows I've, vented to him a couple times throughout the last year or so about what's going on with my life, and you're not alone in it. And it like I said, it's a very important thing. And, I just, and also just to thank you guys for all the love and support you've given our podcast. I know that there's a lot of podcasts out now, and thank you guys for sticking with us and sticking by us for Crush This. We've been doing this now, I think it's officially 6 years. I think we started in 2014, and we're just coming up on, I believe, the 6-year anniversary of our podcast. So thank you guys for the love and support that you show us. Cheech, how's it going with the video?
Still uploading the video.
All right, it's coming, guys. The video's coming. So,
so next week so Thursday, if you thought this was cool, I got one more T-shirt for you. So I'll be right back.
Oh man, Cheech is funny. Cheech is funny. Nick Davis, a couple of folks have asked about the Crush the Stigma shirts. Crush the Stigma is going to be returning. Some stuff has happened throughout the last couple of years. I want to do Crush the Stigma stuff again. That's very important to me.
So
yes.
this Thursday's T-shirt.
Nick David just says it's not worth it. The video is not worth it. Oh yeah.
How about some First Blood, guys? The truck's gonna be 3D because of my gut, but back then it was an XL. It's big. It's not big, but still, look at that First Blood, old school First Blood T-shirt. That's gonna be Thursday. It's gonna be tighter than hell. But
fat guy in a little shirt.
You got the back right there for you. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Awesome. Nick, it's not worth it because he's a dweeb.
Okay, next episode we'll play it. We'll play it next episode no matter what. Also, you guys probably saw the post I put up earlier about an Among Us stream. I'm wanting to do it. Cheech has the game. I know there's a couple other people that watch the podcast that have the game. I want to do an Among Us stream and find out who all of you is sus. That game is fun, and I want to do the stream. If you want to be a part of the stream, let either me or Cheech know, and you must have Discord. I'll put a link to the Discord server I set up. You must have Discord because we'll be able to have to talk about it and discuss who is the imposters. Please make sure that you download Discord for it, okay? Either on your phone or whatever. You have to have it to play. We got to be able to do that. You could type, but it's much funner if you have Discord so we can talk it out. So if you guys are interested, let either me or Cheech know, and we'll plan for that possibly next week.
This video is 37 seconds long, and it's not updating.
It has to be 100 megabytes to upload onto here, so I don't know what the file size is. But if anything, we'll play it before the episode next week, so you guys will still be able to, or this week, so you guys will be able to see it. As far as Cheech said earlier, we still might have Todd Frolic on. We don't know. If not, we'll have somebody on, a legend of the sports or somebody. The episode will still be happening. Hall of Fame week is still going on with us. Again, guys, thank you for all the love and support that you show us. We're going to keep kicking on butt here. And anything else you'd like to say, Cheech?
No, but I'm excited about this. It was awesome to have Kid on. Thank you for everyone on. It was cool seeing 30 views. Thank you so much for everything that you guys have done supporting us. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. And as we always say with Crush This, since day number 1, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, everybody. Peace.
Oh, it's working.
Oh, it's working. Is it? You're a jerk. You really are a jerk. You know that? You got me all excited. I was about to end the broadcast. Okay, Cheech put it on Facebook. All right, guys. Keep the rubber side down, the shiny side up. Peace out, everybody. Woo!